Okay, well, I think I had some people worried about whether I was going to be here on time. Yes, I made it. I was pretty late in arriving yesterday evening in Atlanta, which was like 3 a.m. for my time zone, and I decided it was safer to sleep there and drive in the morning instead of try to stay alive in the middle of night on the road. So I came this morning here. Very good to be here. I know a couple of you. I'll try to get to know everybody else in due course of today and tomorrow. My topic, I really see this as my topic. I've been doing research on this topic already dating back to my PhD thesis. I've done some work in different pieces of the order picking, and I'll just take you along, also with an eye on not just my research but also on teaching. So I'll also be talking about some articles that I did not write myself but are interesting in a teaching context. All right. There's a small subtitle, Order Picking in the Age of E-commerce, because I have a certain opinion where things will be going in the next decade or so. There have been a lot of automated systems designed. And is that going to be useful in e-commerce? I don't think so, actually. I'll get back to that later, why I think we're going to move back to more manual order picking with just people doing all the work. Well, anyway, the e-commerce business, what's doing that to warehousing, logistics? Just to give you a small feeling of where it goes, I have this really nice graph of the amount of money people spend online in my country, but it's kind of the same in the US or in other Western European countries. It is climbing. Crisis, no crisis, it is just going up. Actually, there's about 100 euros every year that people spend more online. So this was 2009 number, which was 740 euros. Last year was 870 euros. Going on and on like that. So there's a lot of logistics expansion in doing e-commerce.
Is that a per capita number?
Sorry? This is the number a person that does internet shopping spends on the web. So it's per person. So that's over $1,000 at current exchange prices. And I think, I'm not sure, I think about 70% of people that have internet access actually shop online. So it's about 8 out of 16 million inhabitants. And if you take off like 70, 80 plus people that don't do online shopping, take off the babies, then basically everybody is buying already. So what does that do to warehouses, logistics? So I made these two lineups of very easy supply chains to show what I'm talking about. Right? We start with some manufacturers or growers. If you make food items, they get shipped to a warehouse. And the traditional supply chain, well, you send it to a store, maybe from the warehouse, right? If you do e-logistics, it doesn't go to a store, it goes to a e-fulfillment warehouse. Well, still kind of the same logistics, right? Now in the store, you put it in the racks, and the customer comes in. The customer goes and looks for the products that the customer wants. But in the e-fulfillment center, you have a professional that will have to do picking of products. So you replace the customer by a professional that you have to pay. So e-fulfillment is expensive, right? And then even more, that customer will carry her or his own products to the own car and drive back home. All of that for free to your company. Whereas in e-logistics, you have to get it delivered to the house of the customer. Now, if you look at a lot of online grocery companies, it's almost out of sight, but They tend to do this for about $9 per order. Warehouse operations, order picking, and delivering for $9. You can see you have to look at every little detail if you want to make a profit there. Now, if you want to make a profit there, you have to be flexible, right? One day is much higher demand than some other day. And that's why I'm saying, and maybe next year demand will double compared to last year, or maybe consumers shift their demand. And if you want that kind of flexibility, I think if you install a very high-priced automated system, you might run into trouble. I've yet to find, at least in my country, I've seen a lot of e-fulfillment centers. They're all manual, all back to basics. And I did a lot of research on back to basic systems, and that's a good thing. I might, instead of being phased out with my research, I might see a revival there. I'm happy about that, of course. So order picking, getting products from the racks based on consumer orders. And that formulation is vital. It's based on consumer orders. It is not the consumer orders per se. So we get the consumer orders, we kind of shuffle them around to make something that we like to do as a job package in the warehouse. Then we send it out to be done. Maybe we combine some consumer orders into one job in the warehouse, or if there's a huge, big order, we just split it up into several pieces and do those several pieces separately, and then in the end put it all together. That's all picking. So that's why it's based on consumer orders. It is not picking consumer orders. There's a lot of systems here. I guess everybody has been in warehouses, but you can't go into warehouses enough, I guess. My favorite system, shelf racks, small products, a person walking around. But basically, from a mathematical design point of view, this is the same as a system like this. You have a big truck and you drive around, you pick boxes. Anyway, you go to the location as a worker, you go there, find the location, get the product, put it on your cart. The picker goes to the part. In this system, the picker also goes to the port, although there's some more fancy interaction, right? I guess everybody has seen this before. Lights indicate where to go. Before you had maybe a hand terminal, or maybe even a sheet of paper that said which products to retrieve from the racks. Here there's lights going on indicating which products to take, and you don't have a cart anymore, but bins, and just drop the product in the bin and it gets transported. Well, several other systems, I'm not going to talk much about those, but I wanted to put them in the presentation anyway. Different ways of order picking if you want to go up higher, automated systems, so the systems where the part goes to the picker and the picker is stationary. I see less of those in the e-commerce field anyway. My research is getting this better. Manual systems, pick it to part, so you have a lot of aisles, products are stored somewhere, a picker has to go in, find the right products, take them out, and they get shipped to the consumer. And how to do this in the best way, that's what I will be talking about for some time. Just as a reminder, I was in a lean workshop in my university a couple of months ago, and they had lots of these nice ways of depicting total time. So I thought, let's do that here as well, because it's really insightful. Where is time spent in an order picking system? This blue thing here, that's the actual work. That's all that matters. You go and get the product that the consumer wants and put it with all of the other products that the consumer wants. The other 85% of the time is basically waste, not necessary. Well, you can't really get rid of it, but it's something you would like to reduce.
When are you saying pick
Sorry?
When are you delineating the end of the pit?
Defining this might be tricky, yes. Even searching. Administration time, is that part of picking? Yes, no. Well, I put it right here. So picking is actually, I get the box, I take it from the rack, put it on a cart. Once I drop it, I'm done.
But you don't take it any further than that, which is moving it back through moving it out.
Moving it out would be included in the walking.
Okay.
You could have a conveyor or some other system do it, right? So you don't have to have the person do all of that. So all the efforts in optimizing order picking are trying to reduce something in this 85% range. Usually not here. There's some ergonomics work going on here. I've done some work here too, so this can actually be improved as well. At most work, well, basically goes here. Search time depends mostly on the system that you use. Do you use an automated or a manual system? So is the product brought to you, there's not much search time. If you go to the product, there is a lot of search time. Setup, well, it's administrative. You find pallets, find a cart, whatever. It's very hard to influence once you have built the warehouse. This is the largest component, and still even in an existing warehouse, and you know what you're doing, you know the products that you have, workers that you have, you can still reduce walking time. I still have to find a warehouse where I'm not able to improve walking time compared to what I have currently running. So this is a big opportunity for most places still. So how do you get the order picking as good as possible? Well, where do you put your products? They will influence your choice of everything that follows, right? Storage location, methods. Which orders are going to be handled by which person? Do you split them up? Do you combine them? And so on. How do you determine sequences through the warehouse? And how do you design it? Well, I'll talk about each of them a little bit. Let me start with storage assignments. So which product do you put in which location? Now, if you look into literature, I think 90% or more of the literature will focus on reducing travel times. I basically put this slide in to show you there's a lot of things that you want to consider if you determine storage assignment rules in practice. You want to have it condensed, probably. If the area is smaller, you have less to walk, right? Everything is close together. This is a big one in supermarkets.